Hello and welcome to the last assessment of the unit OPM 5003 Managing the Project Knowledge. Today I am going to talk about key drivers in knowledge management. The first thing I did was trying to define knowledge management. I have looked through the definition of knowledge management throughout the decade, and what I found that they kept changing. The last and the most prominent one, what I found is knowledge management would include the information and knowledge creating system, as well as strategic management and innovation. So throughout the decade, there has been addition of knowledge management systems, information systems, and strategic management. Then the subject of this video is about knowledge drivers. So I try to find where they fit in the whole process. So what I found that knowledge in the middle of knowledge management process objectives and outcome, the knowledge drivers take place. So in this figure, at the left hand side there are like knowledge management objectives, and at the right hand side there is knowledge management outcomes. In the middle, the knowledge management drivers take place. So, knowledge management drivers typically are the initial phase of knowledge enablers, which helps to knowledge processes, and knowledge processes create knowledge management system outcome. Also, I look for the knowledge drivers definition, or you can say what can be included in knowledge drivers. Throughout the decade, there has been two additions. So, at the first, there are four main key drivers, which are culture, assessment, technology, and leadership. But as the time evolved, as the time changed, the two addition of personal information technology and knowledge management strategy has been added. So today I'm going to talk about three key main knowledge drivers which helps in the knowledge management processes. The first is organizational culture. So culture is basically a socially transmitted knowledge. What I found through the literature review that organizational culture contributes to 79% growth rate to knowledge management system. A better culture, a better knowledge practices, and at the end, a good knowledge management system. So culture is a challenging thing. Culture can be a vital, the uplifter, promoter, or a critical barrier to the knowledge management thing. It can support or prevent knowledge management practices, which are creation, sharing, and utilization. Culture includes many things. Culture includes norms, culture includes people, culture includes many skills, their environment, and so on. So what I found through the research that the qualification plays the main role in the organizational culture also. So 77% of the senior staff's qualification has contributed to more prominent knowledge management system. Also, 72% of overall employees' qualification contributed to knowledge drivers. Motivation factor is the main thing in the organizational culture. So 55% has of the motivational factor contributed to drive the knowledge management processes in the research what I have found. The second thing here is organizational structure. Organizational structure is a subset of organizational culture. So organizational structure is usually categorized into three types, three elements: formalization, centralization, and integration. So what I have found through the research that organizational culture can positively initiate or positively enhance knowledge management initiative if organizational structure reflect less centralization, less formalization and more integration. There has been debate going on, and I have found two other literature review that says that there has to be more centralization or more formalization, but I found this were appropriate. The other thing is availability of advanced technology has been added up to the driver, and that can fit into the organizational structure. Knowledge officer, that is the new role in the organization. What knowledge officer do is to support the implementation of knowledge management program. There are several other roles which can be defined by human resource as per the organization for knowledge officer. The human resource management. So whatever the value proposition of the business is based on intangible knowledge-based assets such as creativity, skills, and innovation. What human resource management plays here, that their function to support knowledge management practices are to choose a proper knowledge management program, a proper knowledge management strategy, to implement know-how strategy, to create encouraging environment, and to support whatever the structure is, whatever the technology is, and have some programs or have some activities that can transfer the knowledge, and that can transfer the tacit knowledge to explicit knowledge, to use more knowledge resources. So what theories underpin here? There are many which underpins three main key drivers. So to name a few, change enablers which are part of knowledge culture. You can say that personality, motivation, and behavior are the main leading three factors of that enablers. You can say self-awareness. We talk about 5 different areas where we develop ourselves into the knowledge management system. We have knowledge transfer processes, culture value dimension, learning styles, and so on. At the last, I want to talk about the ethical edge to knowledge management drivers and the whole system. So the first thing here is organizational ethical climate. From perception to perception, this definition change. This needs to be verified. This needs to be redefined for all, so that we can create an ethical climate, ethical organizational climate to transfer the knowledge. The massive issue here, as we all know, is knowledge ownership. It's a really big issue, because employee thinks that they are the owner of their knowledge, but the actual thing is organization is the owner, or who takes the ownership of the knowledge. So there are some misunderstanding between employees and organization, and that takes the whole problem to the another level. So at the end, I want to conclude that if the knowledge practices are ethical, they will be more effective. We will talk about how knowledge drivers works into the practice. So we have talked about main 3 key drivers of knowledge management: the structure, the culture, and the human resource management. We choose the knowledge management program or strategy to develop the knowledge management practices into the organization. So what we have discussed and what we have found so far, that these 3 key drivers drive the knowledge management processes into the people of the organization, into the processes of the organization, and into the infrastructure of the organization, and that all adds up into the effectiveness of knowledge management system. And at the end, that effectiveness of knowledge management system ends up at organizational effectiveness. So this whole thing carries out in the context of learning, in the context of knowledge transfer, in the context of organizational knowledge transfer change. So what we have covered so far in this video, we have talked about knowledge management, we have talked about knowledge management drivers, we have picked three of them, and we have critically reviewed them, their underpin themes, and at the end we have talked about how they work into the practices based on the research finding. So that's all for now. Thank you very much.